What's good, R&B squad? This is Heart of Ruth. I trust that this message meets you guys in good spirits. If you are new to this family, we don't believe that you're here by accident. Welcome. We're happy to have you, and Jesus is, of course, always happier. The word that I have today comes from a dream that I had and some scripture that the Lord led me to accompany the dream and the scenes in the dream. And as per usual, as you listen to the details, you will know by those details whether or not this word is for you. Please eat the meat, spit out the bone, take what's for you, and leave the rest. The first word is a kingdom marriage word. The first word is a general word, and the second word is a kingdom marriage word. Now, some of you are going to be able to relate to both, and for others of you, these words are going to tie into each other. So let me get into the first scene in the dream. In the first scene in the dream, there is a woman sitting at what looks like a recreational center or like a sports bar or something. She's just sitting there. And I had the impression that she was either waiting for someone to arrive or she was waiting to leave with the person as soon as the person arrived. And I should mention that she was very nicely dressed. She had done her hair in a really pretty hairstyle, and she was just sitting there minding her own business and waiting. And then this other woman comes up to her. This other woman comes from all the way across the room and comes over to her and starts asking her questions. And the first thing I noticed about this woman that came from across the room and started asking this lady who was sitting there waiting, she started asking her the questions. I noticed that the woman, the one who was asking the questions, she had done her hair in a similar hairstyle to the woman who was sitting there waiting. And there's a point to me mentioning that, so I'm going to come back to that. So the woman, the one who comes over to the one who's sitting there waiting, she starts firing all of these questions at her. So she's like, "Are you waiting for someone? You look like you've been waiting here a long time. It doesn't look like you're going anywhere. You don't look like you're going anywhere because you've been here for a long time." And then the woman who was sitting there minding her own business and waiting, she's like, the first woman, she's like, "Okay, I don't think that what I'm doing here or why I'm sitting here is any of your business, but I haven't been here for very long. I have not been sitting here for very long." And then the woman who's asking the question, she points somebody else who's sitting not too far away out to the woman. And she says, "Didn't you come with so-and-so? Aren't you and so-and-so here together?" And she doesn't get a response from the first woman. So then she goes right back into the other narrative. She's like, "It doesn't look like you're going anywhere because you've been sitting here for a while." But the first woman who was minding her own business waiting, she just ignores her. And then eventually she has to leave and go back to her seat across the room. And that was the end of that scene. Then the scene switched, and there are two different people this time. There is a woman, she is also sitting there waiting, and it looks like she's waiting for somebody. And then this person comes up to her and starts telling her about her God-ordained partner. This person starts divulging this information about her God-ordained partner to her. And I had the sense immediately as I listened to this individual that the information that was being given was not true. It was fabricated. So here's the information that was being passed on to this woman. This woman was being told by this strange individual who just came up to her that her God-ordained partner was not available, that he was seeing somebody else. I think I even heard the person mention that he had been seeing somebody else all along or something along those lines. And that was the end of the scene. And I had the sense that it was being told to her, but it wasn't being told to her with good intentions. This person who came up to her and told her these things about her God-ordained partner did it with malice. And I also sensed that the individual who was maliciously giving this information to this woman, this person was afraid of getting caught. They were afraid of being exposed as lying because that is what they were doing. And that was the end of that scene. So let me get into the interpretation now. For those of you whom the first scene is for, the first word is for, there are people who are really eager to find out what you've got going on. There are people who are keeping tabs on you. They have a certain amount of obsession with you, and the obsession is driven by the hatred and the envy that the enemy put in their hearts toward you. And they're determined to find out your business. Notice that the woman was sitting there minding her own business at this sports bar. And this other lady comes all the way from across the room to ask her if she's been waiting there long, and to say you don't look like you're going anywhere, and to ask her who she came with, if she was there with somebody else at the sports bar. So these people, they want to know what you've got going on, whom you're seeing, if you're even seeing anybody, what progress you're making in your life. They want to know all about the details of your life. And they don't want to know because they're interested in you. They just want to know because they're in competition with you and because they're envious of you. And like I said, the woman who came and started asking that other woman who was sitting there waiting, the woman who came and started asking her all of the questions, she was wearing a similar hairstyle to the woman whom she was asking all the questions to. So immediately when I saw that, I thought, okay, so it maybe she just wants to be like this woman, because here you are asking all of these questions, throwing all of this shade, implying that the woman isn't going anywhere because she was sitting there so long. And yet here you are wearing a hairstyle that's just like hers. So these people, they don't know if they hate you or if they want to be you. In some cases, it's a bit of both. They hate you, but they still want to be like you because they secretly like what you've got going on. They secretly like how you carry yourself. They secretly like the way you dress, the way that your taste, the person that you are, how you present. They like that and they want to imitate it. And sometimes just because they can't, they get mad. So just remember that these people are being motivated by the enemy, and they will come and they will try to ask you questions and keep tabs on you. If anybody comes up to you and suddenly shows an interest in what is going on in your life, let's say that this is an acquaintance, somebody that you barely know, and all of a sudden they have a sudden interest in your life. They want to know what's going on. They're asking you all these questions. Or if it's somebody who is a known enemy, the Lord already warned you about this person, so you know this is an enemy. And all of a sudden they have an interest in finding out all of these things about you. Trust and believe they're not doing it with good intentions. Notice that she, the one who was asking all of the questions, kept saying to that woman who was sitting there waiting, she kept saying, "It doesn't look like you're going anywhere. It doesn't look like you're going anywhere." She repeated it at least 3 times. So some of these people, not only do they want to find out what you have going on, but they also want to speak stagnancy and delay over your life. So anybody that's just had, all of a sudden, they have a sudden interest in you and they want to know this and that and who you're seeing and what you're doing and what you're up to and what progress you're making, cut it short. Cut the conversation short, because they do not have good intentions. They just want to see everything that you have going on die. That's what they want, because your life makes them feel like they're not doing anything with theirs. And that's the problem. You see, some of these folk, when they get to holding hands with the enemy, what the enemy does is that he plants seeds of, how can I say it? He plants seeds of discontentment in them. So they may have looked that way all their lives, and they may have had what they had all along. And because the enemy planted all of this doubt, self-doubt, and discontentment in them, now when they see other people, they see you and they see other people, they start comparing themselves with you and with other people. So all of a sudden, after they've spent all that time comparing themselves with you or with other people, they're no longer satisfied with the way they look. They're no longer satisfied with what they have. So now they want what you have. They want to look the way you look. They want your talents. They want your abilities. They want your style, the way you present yourself. And if they can't imitate you, the next best thing to them is to try to bring you down. Do you see what I'm saying? She kept repeating, "It doesn't look like you're going anywhere." Let me tell you something. Just because people can't see what God is doing for you, or they don't have all of the details, or because you don't put your business out there like that, doesn't mean that God isn't doing something. They need to mind their own business. And that's all that there is to it. So that's a word for someone. And now for the other word, where this woman is sitting there waiting, a different woman this time is sitting there waiting, and this person comes up to her and starts telling her all of these things about her God-ordained partner. And none of the things that are being said are true. For those of you who are in your marriage season, some of you listening to this, you're in your marriage season, some of you are going into courtship. Just when it's about to happen, expect that the enemy will send people to you to try to make your person look bad. And this is like what, the second time in a short period that the Lord has pointed out lies and rumors to me concerning people and their God-ordained partners. So this is a time, let me tell y'all something about the enemy. The enemy has spent enough time stalking God and trying to imitate him to know when he's up to something. He may not know all of the details because God isn't trying to show the enemy everything that he's going to do. He's not going to show the enemy his hand right off the bat. But at the same time, the enemy has spent enough time studying God closely to know when God is about to do something. So even though he doesn't have all of the details, he knows that God is getting ready to put the finishing touches on this part of your life, on your marriage promise. And because he knows that, and because he's nervous about it, he decides that he's going to go and recruit people to make mischief. So now what you can expect is that right when you're about to start going out with someone, right when you're about to start taking a relationship with this person to something deeper than it was before, right when you're about to start courting exclusively, right when your person is about to propose, this is when you will find that all of a sudden you're getting this information coming in about your person. And for some of you, these people will go as far. Let me tell you how far they will go. Some of them, they know that if they come to you themselves, that you will not listen to them. Because remember, they've done their research on you. They're keeping tabs on you. So they know enough to know that you're not gullible and that you're not going to just take information from just anybody. Some of them already know that you know their character. So you're going to look at the source and not the information. They know that. So they're going to try a different approach. What they will do instead is that they may try to go through somebody else. They may send somebody else to you with the information. Somebody that you may not find to be suspicious. You may not find them suspect. So you may give them a listening ear at first. Or some of them will go so far as to pose as other people. So those of you who are in your marriage season or you're in your season of courtship and God has already confirmed that to you, be wary of people randomly sending you friend requests, follow requests, people randomly messaging you on social media. Like all of a sudden you're getting this influx of messages from these strange accounts. Some of these people, they only want you to give them a listening ear so that they can start to plant their poison. And just know that anything you hear about your person, unless God confirms that what you're hearing is actually true, don't buy any of it. Because these people, they're grasping at straws. Remember, the enemy put them on assignment to try to block your marriage promise. The enemy put them on assignment to try to stop you and your person from coming together. So whatever they need to do that, they will. They may come to you and tell you that your person has somebody else, that they've been seeing somebody else all along. Some of them may come up to you and tell you that your person is involved in illegal activities. They will go all out to try to make you look at this person like, I don't want to be with him or with her anymore. And for some of you, those of you who have not met your person yet, you may meet someone and that person may ask you out, and then all of a sudden here come this stranger that you've never spoken to before, that you've never heard from, that you've never seen, and they come to you like a well-meaning stranger, supposedly having information about your person. Don't trust that. Do not trust that. That may be somebody who knew that individual and doesn't like him or her and is just trying to cause problems for them. So be very wary of that. And as a matter of fact, you know what? right when things are about to move forward for you and your person, that's when you can expect that these things are going to happen. If you're seeing these things happening already, just know that your promise is close. But you know what? The Lord said to tell y'all that regardless of what warfare that the enemy is trying to bring upon your life or upon your relationships or upon your endeavors, Isaiah 61:3. He's going to appoint unto them that mourn in Zion to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he might be glorified. So whatever happened in your life previously, this is your time for the Lord to give you beauty for ashes. The Lord said that he is going to make the enemy his footstool when it comes to this situation. Concerning you, he's going to make the enemy his footstool. So anything that is happening in your life that is God's will, and the enemy is opposing it and sending people on his behalf to oppose it, the Lord is saying that he's going to shut it down and he's going to make them his footstool, because at the end of the day, his will be done over everything else. And that's the word. So I hope this message reaches the right ears. I love you guys. I will be back with another word as soon as the Lord releases me. Take care.